Hello and welcome. Today we are working on lesson 4.03, drawing a box. So before we jump into the actual project, we do need to do some maintenance items here first. And the first one is to create a project folder. We're going to do that here locally on our computer. We're then going to open up the program and save our file. At that point, we'll then start drawing the box. And then the last thing that we need to do here is to take a screenshot so that we have that progress photo to submit for our daily sketchbook of our progress. So let's go ahead and jump into that right now. So I'm going to get out of this screen. And we're going to go ahead and start by creating that project folder. So I'm going to go here into my folder. And to do that, I'm just going to click down here on my File Explorer icon here in my taskbar. If you needed to, you could click your Windows button and it would be over here in the System Tools. So I can do it that way too. Once we get in, the first thing I need to do is open up that digital art folder that we have saved previously. So I'm going to go to Documents, find that digital art folder, and in here we have some folders we've already created. We're going to add one here today. So I find the easiest way to do this is in the white space underneath to right click, New Folder, and there's also a new folder icon here at the top. So you can click that as well. Now I have two. So this one here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name that 1 Point Perspective Room. Okay. And I'm going to click off of that to set that name. So now I have that folder right there, so I know where I'm going to be saving my documents here today. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the folder there. All right, and now I'm back out at my desktop and I'm ready to start drawing. So let's go ahead and open up our program. We are going old school on this one, and we are going to use a program that comes on all Windows computers called Paint. Now, I want to be very specific here. We are not using Paint 3D. It's a little too modern for this project. We are going to use this very basic program here of Paint. So it should look something like this. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and it opens up nicely. Now, depending on your screen size, this may be smaller or this may be larger. If it is larger and you see the scroll bars on the bottom and the side, make sure that you grab that canvas size and make it smaller. We want it to fit nicely on your screen without scrolling. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than this. Something like that is going to make me happy. Maybe a little bit smaller, so I have a little bit more of that gray space all the way around as a buffer. All right, pretty happy with that. So now we're ready to save this document. So we're going to go up here to File. You're going to go down to Save As, and again, we're going old school, so we're going to stick with this BMP picture file format. And with this file format, the first thing we want to do on this dialog box is make sure that we are in the right folder. So I'm going to go Documents, Digital Art, and find that new folder we just created, the 1 Point Perspective Room. The next thing we're going to do is add a file name here to the bottom. Same naming conventions as all of our projects. So we're going to start with last name, comma, space, first name, space, hyphen, space, the program we're using, which is Paint, space, hyphen, and the title of the project, which is 1 Point Perspective Room. Now today we're also going to add the word box at the end because this is not our room project just yet. We are going to draw a box to get started. The next thing that we want to do after we have our file name in there properly is we're going to look at the Save As type. Okay, we want to double check and make sure that we are saving this as 24-bit BMP. This is going to make coloring much easier, so make sure that you are doing that. 24-bit BMP. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Save. Now this program does not save automatically, so going up here periodically, there's a little Save button in the top left corner. Not a bad idea to periodically click that button to save it for yourself. All right. So we're ready to get started drawing. We're going to start drawing by using some of the Shapes tools right here in the middle top section. So I'm going to go and first click on the Line tool. When I click on the Line tool, Some of these other options will become available here. The first one that I want to double check is the size. I do not want this to be, I don't want my lines to be 5 pixels wide. I want them to be 1 pixel wide. So everything that we draw is always going to be 1 pixel wide. So I'm going to click on that. By default, color 1 is black and color 2 is white, and that's what we want to keep it for right now. All right, we're ready to start to draw. The first line that we're going to draw for our box project here is the horizon line. I'm going to position the horizon line somewhere here in this top 1/3 of the page. So I'm going to come down maybe about 1/3, maybe a little less, and I'm going to click on the left side of my page. I'm going to draw across to the right. I want to create a nice straight line for this one. So one of the things that I can do as a shortcut is I can, after I've drag my mouse, I'm going to hold the shift button on my keyboard with my other hand, and now that line will be a perfectly straight line or a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to go completely straight horizontal line all the way over to my edge. I'm going to release my mouse, then I'll release the shift button. Now this line can be moved because it's still selected. As soon as I click off of the line, I can no longer, did I just put a pixel there? Undo. I did. I can no longer move that line. So just know that that is one of the downfalls to this program, is you can't easily make changes in the past. Okay. So I have my horizon line. The next thing that I want to do is I want to add something called a vanishing point. So I'm going to go up here to the shapes section. I'm going to click on the little circle, which is the oval tool. And again, I can draw my oval, or I can hold the shift button and it will draw a perfect circle. Now while that's still selected, I'm going to hit the delete key on my keyboard because it is not anywhere where I want it to be or the proper size, and get rid of that image. What I want to do is I'm going to come somewhere over here on the right side of my composition, slightly above the horizon line. I'm going to click and draw down. I am going to hold that shift button and I'm going to make a nice cute little small circle, as small as you can make it on that line. It is still selected, so I could go in and move it. However, I'm happy with the placement. So I'm going to click off of the shape to set that. Again, now it is merged with that background. I can no longer separate those components. They are all one. At this point, it's getting a little bit hard to see already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. No, let's use the magnifying tool. Up here in the toolbar, I'm going to click on the magnifying glass, and I'm going to click on that circle and just enlarge that area to make it a little bit easier to see. I want to fill in that circle so that it is a black dot, and I'm going to do that by using the paint bucket fill tool here in the tools. So I click on the paint bucket. My colored one is the color that it will fill, and if you notice, the cursor is this little cute paint bucket with a paint drip. Where that drip touches the canvas, that is where I'm actually clicking. So I'm going to put that drip inside that shape and click with my mouse. I'll move that drip down to the lower shape and click with my mouse. So I've now filled in that circle. At this point, I'm just going to come down here to the bottom and I'm going to zoom back out to 100% so I can see what I've done. All right, perfect. We have a horizon line and we have a vanishing point. Now we're ready to start drawing the face of the box. So to do the face, I'm going to go up into the shapes section. I'm going to click on this rectangular tool. I'm going to come down and I'm going to do this over on the left side. Now, if you wanted to put your vanishing point, you can put it anywhere you want on that line, and you can put your box anywhere you want. If you are struggling with this concept, I do recommend that you follow along with placement as well as what I'm doing, following along that with the placement. So I'm going to start here and draw a rectangle. Again, if you wanted that to be a perfect square, hold that shift button, but I'm going to make a rectangle. And I'm placing that sort of to the left side of the composition. I can again move that around anywhere I want to, but as soon as I click off of that shape is now permanent position on that background or on that canvas. All right, so I have the front face of my box. I want to make this box look three-dimensional. So I'm going to go back up to the shapes tools and I'm going to click on the line tool. I'm going to click on my vanishing point here and I'm going to draw down to the top left corner of my box. Then I'm going to click off of that line to set that line so it doesn't move. I'm going to go back to my vanishing point and draw from my vanishing point to the top right-hand corner of my box. Careful to pay attention to positioning. and I'm going to release. And then I'm going to go back to my vanishing point one more time and draw to the left side of my box, left bottom side. If it's not quite right, you can again adjust that until you click off of it to set that line in place. All right, looks pretty good. We're headed in the right direction for sure here. We have our box, but now it looks like it extends off into space forever. And we want to close that box off and so that it's only a smaller box here in our foreground area of the composition. So what we're going to do now is with our same align tool, again, still 1 pixel wide, we're going to decide how deep we want this box to go. So I'm going to start on this diagonal line and I'm going to travel back and I'm going to say, you know what, I think right here would be a good depth. When I'm happy with my depth, I'm going to click on that line. I'm going to hold the shift button and I'm going to go straight across. The reason I'm doing this is the front of the box here, oh, I didn't mean to click over there, is a horizontal, perfectly straight line. So this has to match and be a perfectly straight horizontal line, okay, for the top of the box to be accurate. If I want to add the side to the box, I'm going to go back to where I started for that last line. I'm going to click on that diagonal, same thing. Because the front of the box is a vertical line, I'm going to hold the shift button and I'm going to draw a line perfectly vertical, and it will stop when it hits that lower diagonal line. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. And after that, I will set that line. Okay, now, little bit of cleanup to do. I've extended this line a little bit. We have these extra lines going back to that vanishing point that we don't need any longer. So I'm going to go back to my magnifying glass and I'm going to start the cleanup process here. So I'm going to zoom in because, you know, my eyes aren't what they used to be. And I'm going to look at this edge right here. So I'm going to now get a new tool. This is the eraser tool. So we are going to bounce between drawing and erasing for this entire project. So I need to clean up what I've done. So I have my eraser tool. I can adjust the size of the eraser tool by clicking on that size and make it as large as possible. I'm going to start by coming down close to the box and I'm going to click. Once I get a little further away from the box, I can click and drag and delete that line or erase that line. Same thing over here. I'm going beyond the box and erasing everything going back to that vanishing point. And then I'll scroll down a little bit. I was using the roller ball on my mouse. Going to clean up, and again, every pixel here counts. So we want to be very careful not to erase pixels that we need for the project. Okay, so that looks pretty good there. I am going to scroll over and up a little bit, and I can clean up a little bit closer here to that vanishing point. Take your time, do this neatly. Once you have it all cleaned up, you can come back down to the bottom and zoom back out to 100%. And there we have our box, our three-dimensional cube. Perfect. Now, if you want to add more cubes and see what happens when you position them, you know, directly underneath the vanishing point or to the right of the vanishing point, by all means, or what happens if it's above the vanishing point, following those same rules, by all means, go for it. Try this, experiment, see what you can come up with. But when you are done with today's goal, make sure that you first save your document. Okay, remember, it does not auto-save, so we need to make sure we're saving. And then take your screenshot for the day. So I'm going to do that by going down here to my Windows button. I'm going to go into the S section and find my snip and sketch tool. And let's see if I bring it over here. Here we go. I'm going to click the new button on the snip and sketch tool. I'm going to start in the upper left-hand corner, click, drag down. I want to get the entire window, the entire program here. So you can see I have the file name up here at the top. I can see the images clearly and I can see the program that you are working in. This is a proper screenshot. After I have that screenshot, I'm going to go and click the Save button. And I'm going to go into Documents, Digital Art, Screenshots, you're going to see that I've done this once before today. That's okay. We're going to go 4.03, screenshot, and I'm going to click Save. It's going to ask me to replace it because, like I said, I have done this once before, so I'm going to hit yes. You should not need to do that. All right, so now my screenshot is saved. I can also hit the copy button up here at the top and paste that in to whatever sketchbook we are using. So please, if you have any questions about taking the screenshot, where to place those screenshots daily, or how to draw your cube, please reach out and let me know. Otherwise, enjoy the process.